On page 2-2 notes, so 2-1, we went through these steps. We need to distribute if needed. So we know to distribute if we have parentheses. Then we need to combine our like terms, and after that it will be just like a two-step problem from Unit 1. So on number 6, first we need to distribute the 8. So after we distribute, we would have 16W minus 8, and then bring down the minus 4W equals negative 116. Combine our like terms, so the W's go together. I showed this little shortcut on number 5 on the front. You can actually do two steps at once if you feel comfortable. 16 minus 4 would be 12W. If you want to add 8, since that's the only thing that's left, you can add 8 at the same time. So if I do that, I would have 12W equals negative 116 plus 8 gives us negative 108. Again, you can only do that if you have just a number left. If you don't want to do that, obviously that's fine. 12W minus 8 equals negative 116. Then you can add 8 to both sides, and we still end up with 12W equals negative 108. So you can do this all in one step to get here, or you can take two separate steps, whichever one you feel more comfortable with. Then we need to divide to get rid of the 12. So divide both sides by 12. W equals negative 9. So either way you do it, you should end up with W equals negative 9. Again, when you check your answer, plug it into the very original 8 parentheses 2 times negative 9 minus 1 parenthesis minus 4 times negative 9. And I do get my negative 116. I cannot stress enough to always check your answer back in that original equation. Number 11, it looks like we don't have anything to distribute, but again, if it helps you to put the 1 there, do that. Otherwise, you're basically distributing a negative sign. So 11H minus 2H, negative 1 times 2, and then this would be plus 1. You have a negative 1 and a negative 1 makes it a plus 1. If you have a minus here and a minus here, it changes to a plus. Equals 118. So here again, if you feel like doing this in one step, 11H minus 2H gives us 9H. Then you could subtract the 1 to get equals 117. If you would like to do that in two steps, we would get 9H plus 1 equals 118 for our first step. Then subtract 1, 9H equals 117. Then we need to divide both sides by 9, no matter which way you do that, and get H equals 13 for our final answer. So when you plug that in, 11 times 13 minus parenthesis, 2 times 13 minus 1, and we do get 118. Number 8, we're going to distribute 1/2. I'm also going to write it on the left-hand side. So half of 10 is 5, 5x. Half of 2 is 1, 5x minus 1 plus 3x equals negative 25. Combine our like terms. 5x plus 3x is 8x. I can also add 1 if I want. So 8x equals negative 24. If you're not comfortable doing that, we would get 8x minus 1 equals negative 25. Then we would add 1 to get 8x equals negative 24. So again, do it all at once. To get here, take two separate steps. Divide both sides by 8, x equals negative 3. Divide by 8, x equals negative 3. So we would have 1/2. You can do 1 ABC2. You could do 1 divided by 2. You could even do 0.5. Can't have decimals for your answers, but if you want to plug it in as a decimal, that's fine. 1/2 times 10 times -3 minus 2 parenthesis plus 3 times -3, and I do get -25. All right, number 9. Most people want to put those two things together, but you cannot subtract before you multiply. So the 7 needs to come right down and get rid of it. You're distributing a -5/2. So again, if you want to use your ABC button, -5 ABC2 times 8 gives us -20. So we would write -20R. Here you need to do -5/2, -5 ABC2 times -6. That minus sign in the front of the 6, think of it as negative, and we get +15. Plus 2R equals 32. Now that little shortcut that I was showing up in the last couple, you really can't do that here because you have a 7 and a 15 to get rid of. So I would go ahead and combine all your like terms on the same side. Be careful here, -20 plus 2 is -18R. 7 plus 15 then is +22, is equal to 32. Then we need to subtract 22 from both sides. I'm going to go ahead and write it up here. -18R equals 32 minus 22 is 10. You might think you did something wrong because that comes out to a decimal if you divide it. So we need to leave this as a simplified fraction. So we're dividing by -18. So you can either figure out what goes into both 10 and 18. That would be 2. So we would end up with -5/9. Your negative should either go in front of the fraction bar or up with the 5. If you use your ABC button, you cannot put a -18 in the denominator. Look what happens. It gives you an error. So you either need to move the negative up to the front, make it -10 ABC 18, then it will work, or you just need to know that it's going to be a negative and put 10/18 in. But -5R equals -5/9 is what you should end up with. So this one's going to look really yucky when we plug it in. 7 minus 5ABC2, or you can use division, parenthesis 8 times -5ABC9 minus 6 parentheses plus 2 times -5ABC9. So you're just going to be really careful when you're plugging it all in, but we do get our 32. And our last one, translating it before we're solving it. This is the one where it's 5 times the difference. So we have times and we have difference. Those are two operations that are right next to each other. So that tells you you have to do 5 parentheses and then put the difference in parentheses. Okay, so when you have two operations right next to each other, you have to put the parentheses in between them. Difference of twice a number and 3, 2n minus 3. Okay, so that's this whole top line. Decreased by, so minus, the sum, so now we need to put the sum in parentheses, that number and 8, so n plus 8 for the sum, equals 13. So since we're decreasing by the sum, that's two operations right in a row. So you need to put a parenthesis after your subtraction sign. So now I need to solve it. Distribute the 5 and we get 10n minus 15. Distribute the negative or the -1 minus n minus 8 equals 13. So we have 10n minus n, or minus 1n, gives us 9n. Negative 15 minus 8 gives us negative 23. 9n minus 23 equals 13. So I'm going to write it over there to finish the problem. Add 23 to both sides. 9n equals 36. Divide by n equals 4. Obviously, if you didn't do this part right, you're not going to get the right answer, okay? But if you have this wrong, but all the work is correct, then whatever you plug into whatever you have up here should work. So you wouldn't miss a point for this part, just for this part.